Greetings, fellow YouTubers. I have returned. Now, how many of you know what ADHD is? Not many, I know. Well, maybe a few people actually know what it is, but don't understand what it's about. ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's where you mainly move a lot and you can't sit down in certain places, like you're going like this if you're budgeting, or like when you're trying to pay attention, you have things going through your mind and you're trying to sit there and say to yourself, okay, what's this person saying? Oh my gosh, wow, this person's so boring. Oh, what did I play on the games? Oh, what did I do this? Oh, there's supposed to be a party. Oh, that's mainly what it is. But there's a lot of misconceptions about what ADHD is. Some people think ADHD is about where you're just somebody who just goes completely berserk and who's just all the time. It's not necessarily true, because there's different types of people with ADHD. There's some who have the disorder of not being able to grasp or pay attention, lose memory, and not be able to focus when you're in school and you're sitting there just. And then there's the hyperactivity, where you're just hyperactive and you go everywhere. And there's some where you're actually like mostly always angry. It's really hard to diagnose, because you can't tell what the person has unless you figure out in their brains what's going on. And in a lot of cases, it's always misdiagnosed as just some rambunctious kid. Many doctors have done that and had a lot of people who had it undiagnosed correctly. So it's like you have kids who sit there and have the symptoms, but people think it's caffeine, it's a caffeine issue. It's more than a caffeine issue. It's something so mentally complex that you would have to go inside a brain, you have to do surgery, pull out whatever the problem is and recircuit in, and then you can rearrange it, coordinate it together like this, and then you can place it back and everything will be alright. But that's not always the case. Sometimes there's pills, and I speak for myself when I say Ritalin is not the rightest solution, because Ritalin has made me almost want to commit suicide. So I don't use Ritalin anymore like I did when I was a kid. I have I have some of my own stuff, but I will not issue it out, because I don't want to say to people, oh, this is the best drug, when it takes a different complexity of a psychiatrist and people to analyze. So I'm not going to do that at all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just say, talk to your doctor about the issue and maybe they'll work it out for you. Now, the forgetting the memory part too is also like the worst case, because it's hard to remember what task you're going to do at work. I literally had to write things on a note because I forgot all the time what I was supposed to do, and I used to have to go up to my boss and say like, oh, what was the next thing I was supposed to do? And my boss would be like, really? I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't have a good memory. Tell me what I need to do. And yeah, it just got to the point where it's just like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna write down everything and put it on my little clipboard. So then, if I check one out, I just look and go, oh, okay, there, I have to do that one. School back in my day, though, when people had to take prescription drugs, they would call you to the nurse's office, because only the nurses can give you that prescription. And I hated it. I really did. Because they don't do it very swiftly and calmly and just, give you a note. There used to be like a teleprompter that was like, all the students with the illness, please come down to the laboratory, please. And you look around and you see people. It was embarrassing, but that's my time. I don't know if any new time people do things differently, or if things are, more complex. But during my childhood, that's what you had to do, and it was the most embarrassing thing in the world, because people would think that you were crazy. Even you had like a little kid snicker and go, oh, crazy kid's gonna take his pills. It was, and it's very upsetting to know that I had that since I was like 5 years old, and it was really hard for me to deal with the problems that I dealt with. But I had to write everything on the board. That's like one thing I had to do. I also had to pretty much try to remember the basis of people's names and play the guessing game of, okay, who is this person, who's this person. Might I add also that remembrance is not really that difficult for an ADHD person. I'm speaking in my case, because if I remember a good person, I can always remember a name. It's just a matter of mostly who can I be around long enough to remember Brad, Charles, Carl, and then I would remember. But in most cases with ADHD people, yes, they do forget, and it's challenging. I really don't want people to be like, oh, well, then that's your problem because I'm not going to tell you. No. Just be nice enough to let them know, please. Don't be that obnoxious. Also, ADHD people really don't want to be called like the mentally disabled, like crazy people, because they're not crazy. They're just really hyper adolescent people with a lot of spunk and a lot of characteristic. I mean, they will crack a joke and it would be funny, we can just go out there and be like, and it would make people laugh. That's the idea. But in most cases, society has also hurt mentally disabled people because they printed a bad imagery of them, saying that they're nothing but crazy people and they're deranged, they're murderers. No. It's mostly like a chemistry. There's always a way for someone to be okay, but have a little bit of problems like I had, and I learned to deal with it my own way. And so that's why I, will say that it's not really ever been that hard for me to deal with, in a sense of, oh, I know what it is. No, I did. The problem was finding people around me who wasn't idiots to make all stupid comments about what type of person I would be, and just thinking that I was a goofball all the time. But no, I was just a kid who wanted to express himself very openly like I did. And so, yeah, that's basically me. Alright, thank you so much for watching this video, and please subscribe if you like. Out.